As the ultimate battle with Xicor leaves our heroes with no other options than to fight for their survival, we last leave off Dragon Ball AF Manga Chapter number 2 with Gohan wielding the Z-Sword as his last attempt of survival against a very powerful and very deadly Xicor, in which everyone at this point is exhausted from their attempts of stopping him, in which if you just so happen to have missed out on the first 2 editions of Dragon Ball AF, then you can find both editions for Dragon Ball AF Manga Chapter number 1 and Manga Chapter number 2 down in the description box below, as the final battle with Xicor takes place involving our heroes and the Supreme Kai in what seemingly appears to be the only chance they have left at survival. As once more before we begin, if you are new to this channel and are a fan of anime and Dragon Ball, then don't forget to go on ahead and smash that subscribe button and turn on all notifications by clicking on the bell icon to never miss a single upload. And if you guys want to go on ahead and check up on more Dragon Ball fan mangas created by the community for the community, then you guys can go on ahead and check out the description box down below for all the best and latest Dragon Ball fan mangas, so make sure you guys go on ahead and check that video out, alongside slapping a like down below if you guys are enjoying the Dragon Ball AF series, as we kick off Dragon Ball AF Manga Chapter number 3 exactly where we left off, with Ultimate Gohan having to stare down against Xicor. And as Gohan is wielding the Z-Sword in front of Xicor, Xicor goes on to beg the question, you still have that much more power left? As Gohan is tired, depleted of energy, huffing and puffing, Xicor goes on to tell him that thing's only useful with that technique from before. As Gohan raises the Z-Sword above him, he goes on ahead to smirk right in front of Xicor, as immediately, unbeknownst to Xicor, something ends up happening behind him. As immediately right then and there, Gohan had followed the plan once more in allowing Kibito Kai to once again use the exact same technique in putting away Xicor completely. And as Xicor is beginning to struggle because he can't seem to break out of this barrier, Kibito Kai, although depleted heavily of energy, is still doing what he could to put Xicor away. As Xicor slowly turns his body around, he goes on to cry out, I thought you used up all of your power. As Vegeta attempts to stand back up, Dende arrives, as Vegeta goes on to cry out, I get it, Dende, he restored the Kaioshin's strength, which is exactly what had happened, as Dende had managed to restore the strength of the Kaioshin, giving him the ability to use the technique once again. As Kibito Kai cries out, Gohan, bring the sword down, just like that. As Xicor cannot possibly move, he is trapped, left hopeless for Gohan and the Supreme Kai to make their way in fully defeating Xicor. And as Gohan takes the sword, he stabs it into the ground with such force that right by the end of it, as Kibito Kai uses up all of the energy, transfers Zycor's very essence within the Z-Sword, just as Gohan had stabbed into the rocks beneath him. And the Western Supreme Kai is extremely shocked, extremely desperate, and very annoyed at the fact that her son has now been put away. As Gohan huffs and puffs, there is a moment of silence. Gohan, Vegeta, the Western Supreme Kai, as Gohan releases his hands, we notice how Xicor has fully been trapped within the Z-Sword. As Kibito Kai laughs, he goes on to state, we did it. We've done it, Gohan. We've sealed Xicor away. As Vegeta goes on to ask, so they pulled it off? As Gohan drops to his knees, everyone at this point is extremely tired, extremely depleted of energy, and the payoff was that Xicor had initially been put away, but the only person that refuses to accept this is the Western Supreme Kai. As Gohan finally goes on to utter out, it's over. The minute they all thought it was, the Western Supreme Kai dashes on in and kicking her brother in the face. And as Kibito Kai drops down to the ground, she goes on to refer to him as scum. As Gohan quickly cries out, Kaioshin-sama, in rushing towards his aid, they all seem to forget that the Western Supreme Kai now has redirected her focus at Dende. As she goes on to cry out, butting in when you're merely the god of Earth, huh? Squeezing Dende's throat as she plans on killing him for what he had done, she quickly tosses Dende aside as she redirects her focus on the Z-Sword. As the Western Kaioshin goes on to state, with this grade of seal, I'll soon undo it. As Gohan is trying to talk to the Supreme Kai talks back and having to state, Gohan, you must defeat her. She's the cause. She's the cause of all of this, giving Gohan reassurance that she is the problem. As Vegeta stands in between the Western Supreme Kai and the Z-Sword, she goes on to state, "What are you doing, Prince of all Saiyans?" As Vegeta's arm is busted, he doesn't care. Even though he's depleted of energy, he goes on to state, "Damn it, I want this to be the last time I fight for Earth's sake." As she laughs in his face, she goes on to state, "Fight? With me?" As Vegeta wastes no time in quickly dashing on in, but right before he's about to punch her, she quickly teleports out of the way. So Vegeta at this point has no chance in landing any kind of attack. As she goes on to further tell him, "Listen, Saiyan, I am a god. I can read your mind." But this doesn't slow down Vegeta, but instead, as Vegeta continuously attempts to attack her, she continuously moves out of the way. As she proceeds to tell Vegeta not to mention that as beat up as you are, your attacks are like nothing. As Vegeta continues, she gets in Vegeta's face and letting him know it's 100,000 years too early for you to be trying to kill me. But Vegeta still attempts to try to kill her anyway, and as he does so, she quickly once again moves out of the way as Vegeta collapses on down to the ground. And as Gohan and Kibito Kai look on over, Kibito Kai goes on to grunt and having to tell Gohan, "I knew it." So even though she's sunk into evil, she still hasn't lost her telekinetic powers. As Gohan goes on to ask, "That can't be." As the Western Supreme Kai gets on over towards the Z-Sword, she goes on to utter out, "So, now, how do you undo this seal?" As the Supreme Kai goes on to state the only people that can kill her are either demons or those with the same abilities, which leaves only me. Basically implying that the Western Kai cannot possibly die unless by a demon or another Kaioshin, so he proceeds to take it upon himself in teleporting behind his sister and grabbing onto her arms. As Gohan is shocked, Vegeta is shocked, as the Western Supreme Kai goes on to look back and asking, "What are you up to? What could you possibly do? You've always been so powerless." As Kibito Kai cries out, "As a Kaioshin, I cannot allow you to get away with this. I'll see to it that you atone for the deeds with your own death." As the West Kai cries out, Don't tell me you're going to self-destruct." As Kibito Kai looks behind him, he cries out, "Gohan, Vegeta, listen, I leave the rest to you." As he grabs onto his sister and teleporting away from the planet, everyone there, including Gohan and Vegeta, can't seem to believe it, but instead, Kibito Kai ends up taking his sister to a remote planet somewhere in the universe. As the Western Kaioshin goes on to cry out, "Stop it, Shin! Kaioshin aren't allowed to self-destruct!" As Shin goes on to tell her, "I never thought I would hear that from you. As evil as you've become, farewell, Leela, my sister." As he proceeds to go on ahead and activating the self-destruct, as Kibito Kai begins to self-destruct, his sister cries out, "Stop! No!" As finally Kibito Kai sacrifices his own life to kill his evil sister. And as an end result, Shin's explosion is so massive and so powerful that literally not only does he engulf the entire planet in which they reside on, but the aftershock of Shin's explosion can even be felt from hell. As we see Piccolo battling against Janemba, he even notices something going on in the real world. As Gohan and Vegeta also feel the effects of Shin's explosion, Piccolo in hell goes on to state that key, it just vanished. Could it be? As even Goku and Piccolo begin to feel it in the Dragon Realm, Piccolo goes on to state something's happening. Is it on Earth? Even I felt that just now. As Goku goes on to state, no, that thing just now wasn't on Earth. It was somewhere else. As out of nowhere, we see a pair of familiar feet touch down, as he goes on to tell Piccolo and Goku, "I'll tell you." As of course, Nova Shenron arrives in speaking to both Piccolo and Goku, which of course doesn't come as a surprise considering the fact that this is the Dragon Realm. As Nova goes on to break the news to Goku and Piccolo, he goes on to tell them, "The Kaioshin is dead." As both Piccolo and Goku are so shocked, back on Earth, Gohan seems to be very defeated by the idea that he wasn't able to save Shin from death. Of course, as he goes on to cry out, "Damn it, why did it have to turn out like this?" As Vegeta walks on over, he tells Gohan he took personal responsibility for his mistakes. Try to understand, Gohan, as the only thing left on the battlefield are Gohan, Vegeta, and Xicor, who is trapped within the Z-Sword. However, as we look closer towards the Z-Sword, we notice how the Z-Sword is beginning to chip away. It's beginning to crack, catching Vegeta and Gohan's attention, as Gohan cries out, "Cracks? In the Z-Sword? Cracks? What's going on?" As a voice cries out, "Hey, Gohan," as Gohan asks that voice, Kaioshin's ancestor. As the Elder Kai communicates with Gohan and Vegeta, he goes on to tell them that's right. Seems that the sealed failed somehow, implying that Shin did not do as good of a job as he intended. As Gohan goes on to cry out, "What? A failure?" the Elder Kai responds, "That seal will last another month. When it breaks, that guy will come out again." As Gohan goes on to ask, "Wait, what did you just say? That can't be. What should we do?" As the Elder Kai tells them, "Well, asking won't really help." As Gohan goes on to reply to him, "Wait, so there's nothing we can do?" As Vegeta goes on to state, "So, you're saying that in 1 month, we have to surpass him." As Gohan goes on to ask, "But no matter how much we trained, that's just," as the Elder Kai cuts in, "such power cannot be sealed away just by a single Kaioshin." Really now, he did such a half-assed job. As we see Kibito Kai in the Kaioshin realm, he goes on ahead to apologize by stating, I'm sorry. As the Elder Kai cries out at him, "Why the heck are you even here?" As Kibito Kai tells him, "Well, there really isn't anywhere else for me to go." As the Elder Kai is very upset, he goes on to tell him, "And you tried to make yourself look cool too." Ah, jeez. As of course we go back to Earth, Popo arrives and having to assist Gohan and Vegeta, as Vegeta goes on to state, first off, just who was that bastard? Weren't you two Kakarot's only sons? As Gohan goes on to tell him, "I really don't know myself. Only a long time ago, father told me this story." As of course we have ourselves a recap as the narration goes on to state, soon after Goku's return from planet Yardrat, going all the way back to the defeat of Mecha Frieza but prior to the androids. We see Gohan and Goku taking a bath together as they're spending father-son time, as Goku goes on to tell him, "How long has it been since we took a bath together, Gohan?" As Gohan asks, "Hey, father, were you on planet Yardrat this whole time?" As Goku goes on to tell him, "Nope. Actually, before I came back to Earth, I went to another planet. There was this gal called Princess Leela there, and she fed me as much delicious stuff as I could eat, and it was really yummy. When I was all full, I fell asleep right there." As of course what had originally happened was Goku looks like he had been put to sleep, as the Kaioshin went along ahead to cut Goku's neck, drawing blood from him and using that blood to replicate and create the ultimate evil, in which we saw that in Xicor. As Goku goes on to state, "But when I came to be, the feast and that princess lady were all gone. And on top of that, I overslept and ended up arriving later than Frieza." As Gohan begins to question, he goes on to tell him, "That's nothing to laugh about, father. If that man from the future hadn't shown up, it all would have been awful." As back in the present, Vegeta goes on to tell Gohan, "So that's when that bastard Kakarot had his genetic information stolen." As Gohan agrees by stating, most likely out of nowhere a ship manages to appear up in the sky, as it happens to be Bulma. As she looks down, she goes on to reply, "Thank goodness. Looks like everyone is still alive." Meanwhile, back in the Dragon Realm, Goku and Pikkon continue their conversation with Nuova. As Goku goes on to ask him, "So, what's been going on down below?" As Nuova looks at Goku, he goes on to tell him, "Shut up and come with me." As Goku and Pikkon are very silent, they proceed to follow. So this entire journey in following Nuova, everyone seems to be very, very quiet, until they arrive at a palace. And as they step inside, another shadow dragon emerges, as he goes on to laugh and having to cry out, "So, you've gained Nuova as an ally, have you, Son Goku? But there's no way I'm gonna let you pass through here." As he proceeds to tell Goku, "Unless you defeat the evil dragons on each floor of this palace, you'll never reach the utmost floor. And even if you do manage to reach it, our boss," as Goku says, wait, hey, time out. "Listen, I'm sorry, but we're in a hurry, so let's not play Palace of Evil today, please." As the Shadow Dragon is so disappointed, Nuova goes on to tell them, "We've got to talk with Omega Shenron. It's extremely urgent. Call him for us." As the Shadow Dragon quickly gets on the phone, he goes on to tell Nuovo, right, you're always such a slave driver. As meanwhile, back inside of Bulma's ship, we notice how everyone's recovering, which thankfully, as Trunks wakes up in a hurry, he sits up as his sister goes on to tell him, brother, oh thank goodness, as he goes on to cry out, brah, ow, because he's still in pain. As she goes on to ask him, are you alright? And Vegeta's still pissed. He goes on to cry out, pathetic. That's what you get for slacking off with your training. As Trunks so casually laughs, Pan goes on to tell him, I'm glad you're awake, Trunks. But Goten still seems to be knocked out. As of course, Videl goes on to state, don't worry. It looks like he's just passed out. As Bulma goes on to ask everyone, hey, to continue the conversation from before, essentially, that monster will come out again in a month? As Vegeta goes on to tell her that's right. As Bulma continues, if only Goku were here at this time like this. As Pan goes on to ask, wait, so Grandpa can't be brought back to life, right? As Vegeta replies, no, Kakarot isn't dead. He left the living world on his own violation. It's impossible. As Gohan even goes on to comment, yeah, either way, Xicor was even more powerful than Father was before he left. So even if Father were here, he couldn't defeat him. As Trunks goes on to comment, but it's strange. I get the feeling that if Son Goku were here, he'd manage to do something. As Vegeta erupts in rage, he goes on to cry out to Trunks, why don't you just give it a rest? Just how long do you intend to rely on Kakarot? Because Vegeta believes that everyone solely depends on Goku, but nobody ever depends on him. As Vegeta continues, try and think about just why he left the living world. It's because he thought he could rest easy, leaving everything to you. Consider this a test. Show that you can protect the Earth even without Kakarot. As Gohan goes on to comment, I'll defeat that Xicor bastard no matter what. You'll see. As meanwhile, back in the Dragon Realm, we notice how Goku and Pikkon have now made it to the top. As Pikkon goes on to ask, do heavenly people even get colds? Because of course Goku has sneezed, but then we hear a very familiar voice cry out from the shadows, as at long last Omega Shenron finally steps through. As he goes on to tell Goku, it's been a long time, Goku. As Goku goes on to tell him, it sure was, Omega. As Omega tells him, I must explain to you what's happening now on Earth. As back with Bulma, the Elder Kai is beginning to communicate with everybody there. As the first person he goes on to talk to, of course, is Gohan. As he goes on to tell him, we're searching for a solution to this solution over here too. We looked into all sorts of things, but I think that, in the end, we've got no choice but to get help from Goku. As Gohan cries out, what, from Father? Do you know where he is? As Vegeta is extremely pissed. The Elder Kai continues, well, we do know technically, but, well, it's this place called the Ryushin Realm. As everyone asks, Ryushin Realm, Vegeta goes on to ask, what do you mean? What's this Ryushin Realm? As the Elder Kai continues to put it simply, it's the world where the Shenrons live, more or less. As Bulma asks, but wasn't Shenron created by a god? As the Elder Kai continues, well, to be precise, he wasn't created. Rather, he was called forth from the Ryushin Realm. As Gohan makes the comments and asking, I see. So, in other words, the Namekians possess the powers to summon Shenrons forth from the Ryushin Realm. Okay. As Trunks asks, but then, why did Goku go to that world? As the Elder Kai explains, right, well, originally, the dragons were unable to leave the Ryushin Realm. In order to call them forth to the living world, the Dragon Balls and a dragon model are needed. As Gohan cries out, oh, I've seen that before. As it continues, however, when the evil dragons were born, the model was destroyed, meaning that Shenron lost his physical presence in the living world. As the Elder Kai continues, having lost his physical presence, Shenron couldn't return to the Ryushin Realm. Shenron's spirit needed a vessel to enter into. As Vegeta goes on to comment, I get it. So then, Shenron's spirit entered into Kakarot's. As Pan asks, what? Wait, so that's what happened? As the Elder Kai replies, yep, pretty much, Goku has become one with Shenron and gone into the Ryushin Realm. As Trunks jumps in, he goes on to cry out, so let's just summon Goku then. As the Elder Kai continues, it won't be that simple. The Ryushin Realm is a special world. It's sealed off so people cannot easily come and go between it and outside of that world. As Videl asks, well then, I mean, is there any way for us to summon him? As the Elder Kai continues, yes, the Dragon Balls are the only way to call forth those in the Ryushin realm. Now let me ask, what's become of the ones on Earth? As Gohan replies, I'm pretty sure that they're at Dende's place, still in stone form. As the Elder Kai replies, I figured. The Dragon Balls may be purged of their minus energy, but they still haven't gathered enough energy to be used again. It will most likely be 1,000 years before those Dragon Balls will be usable once more. As everyone cries out 1,000 years, Vegeta goes on to comment, that's why I said we don't need the likes of Kakarot. Besides, I don't think he would be able to beat Xicor even if he were revived. As Gohan goes on to tell him, that's true. There's no point in reviving Father if he can't beat Xicor. As Shin replies, Xicor is Goku's son, so his misunderstanding is what started this whole battle. This is really a problem that should be resolved through dialogue, not fighting. For that purpose at least, I've searched for Goku. As the Elder Kai continues, however, since Goku has merged with Shenron, perhaps we can solve this through fighting as well. As Gohan asks, what do you mean? As the Elder Kai responds, when dragons and humans merge, they can obtain power many times greater than before. That's the legend that has been handed down in the Ryushin realm. As everyone is shocked, Goten sits up and having to cry out, hey Pan, is it okay if I go back? As Pan cries out, Uncle Goten, just be quiet. With Trunks having to tell Goten, I'll just explain later. As Pan goes on to comment, but the Dragon Balls are what's important. We can't do anything if they're just stones. As the Elder Kai responds, actually, there is a method by which we could immediately revive the Dragon Balls. As everyone asks, okay, what method? As the Elder Kai continues, if each of the 7 Dragon Balls are simultaneously infused with powerful light, then the Dragon Balls will regain their light. As Trunks asks, light power? What is that? As the Elder Kai tells him it's a powerful light energy only capable of being produced by a secret few races, rarely seen in the universe. As Gohan asks, a uniquely gifted race? I mean, where are they then, this race of light? As the Elder Kai states, well, that would be you, the Saiyans. As everyone is dumbfounded by what the Elder Kai is saying, Trunks goes on to ask, wait a minute, you mean Super Saiyans? As the Elder Kai states, yes, that's right. When 7 Super Saiyans simultaneously infuse with the 7 Dragon Balls with light, the Dragon Balls will be revived. As everyone is shocked, the initial plan here is to infuse the Super Saiyan light within the Dragon Balls in order to get them active again. As of course, Trunks cries out, wait, that's hopeless. There's only 6 Saiyans on Earth now. Trunks, Goten, Vegeta, Pan, and Bra. As Gohan goes on to ask, well, there are only really 6, and Bra and Pan aren't even Super Saiyans, so it's even more pointless. As both Pan and Bra stand up, they go on to tell all of the men on the ship, don't underestimate us. As they both take a minute to glance at each other, they immediately turn into Super Saiyans. The first time that Bra and Pan have achieved that power following the events of Dragon Ball GT, which ultimately make them the first female Super Saiyans. As Vegeta cries out, you too! When did you? As Bra and Pan look at each other, they go on to tell everyone, well, we've been practicing together. As Trunks sits back down, Bulma goes on to state, well, even so, it still doesn't change the fact that we are 1 person short. As Gohan asks Kaio-sama, what should we do? As the Elder Kai states, rats. Well, sorry, but I don't know. As Vegeta goes on to ask, don't worry, I'll just defeat him by myself. As everyone is desperately trying to figure out who in fact they could actually get to help them in this quest, as they touch back down, the narration goes on to state several days later. And even then we get to notice how Hercule, Roshi, Krillin, everyone seems to be enjoying themselves, as of course unbeknownst to them, they have absolutely no idea as to what is about to happen once Xicor does inevitably break out of the Z-Sword. But back inside of the Ryushin realm, Omega Shenron speaks to Goku as he goes on to tell him, so that's what happened. As Goku is baffled, he goes on to comment, so then, what should I do? Is there anything I can do? As Omega tells him, you can do nothing. We residents of the Ryushin realm cannot go to the lower world on our own violation. As Nuova comments, that includes you too, Goku. As Ice Shenron also butts in, he goes on to state, since you've fused with us, you can't go to Earth until you are summoned as a Shenron right alongside the rest of us 7 dragons. As Goku asks, but no. As one of the other Shadow Dragons emerges, she goes on to tell him, you should have known that. That's why you fully needed to be prepared when you made that decision. As out of nowhere, there's a shining light that appears behind everyone. Omega, Goku, Pycon, everyone stares out as to what is going on. Nuova goes on to comment that definitely came from the direction of the palace. As Omega comments, so, Porunga has headed out to the lower world, huh? As Pycon asks what does that mean, Omega responds by having to tell him, most likely the people of Earth are behind this. As on New Planet Namek, the narration goes on to state, in order to give their wishes to Porunga, Trunks and Goten visit New Planet Namek. Their first wish was to heal the damaged Earth, and with their second wish, they revived those who have been killed. With an easy wish, Porunga had made their wishes come true. As of course, lastly, Goten and Trunks speak about bringing Goku back, as Trunks utters out, could you bring Son Goku back here please? As Porunga goes on to tell Trunks and Goten, that I cannot do. Reviving Son Goku greatly exceeds my own power. As everyone seems to be disappointed, Goten goes on to comment, figured it wouldn't work. So to revive Dad, we'll just need 7 Super Saiyans after all. Super Saiyans, as Trunks says. Hey, wasn't there one a long time ago? As Trunks asks, wait a minute. You don't mean, as Trunks goes on to tell Goten, yeah, Broly. As Goten asks him, wait, you want to revive Broly? No way, he was our enemy. As Trunks tells him, yeah, but there's no other way. Don't worry. The way we're all now, we'll get him to listen to us by force if necessary. As Goten tells him, wait, no, I give up. I won't be responsible for this. As Trunks tells him, would we still be able to revive someone that even died so many years ago to Porunga? As one of the Namekians goes on to tell him, yeah, that's fine. The new Porunga has no death limit. As Trunks cries out, really? Then, I would like to bring Broly back to life. He was killed a long time ago on Earth. As Porunga goes on to tell him, an easy wish. The Elder Kai cries out, Broly? Wait, who is that? As Porunga grants the wish, he goes on to tell the boys, your wish has been granted. Farewell. And as Trunks and Goten look on, they both go on to state, wait, he said it was granted, but where's Broly? As one of the Namekian elders tells them both, he died on Earth, so he should have came back to life there too. As they both panic, they cry out, wait, on Earth? Wait, this is terrible. If we don't get back soon, Broly will wreck the Earth before Xicor does. As Kabuto Kai quickly extends his hand, he tells them both, Trunks, Goten, let's get back to Earth. As they use instant transmission, meanwhile back on Earth, we see Broly having to stand there puzzled as to what had happened. As he goes on to say to himself, what's happened? Surely I was killed. As he stares out into the distance, as he looks at his own hands, the manga chapter comes to a close with the resurrection of the legendary Super Saiyan Broly. Now it did come as a surprise given that Bra and Pan can finally become Super Saiyans, even though that should have originally occurred in Dragon Ball GT. What I really did enjoy about this manga chapter is the desperation factor, because nobody really knew what to do. They're desperately relying on Goku so much in helping them during this cause. I really do enjoy the fact that the Supreme Kai took it upon himself to actually be relevant in this story and sacrificing his life just to simply stop his sister. But what I also am very curious about is how Goku makes his approach once he inevitably does end up returning on Earth and confronting his son, given the fact that the Elder Kai even mentioned that at this point the best course of solving the problem would be through dialogue, given Zycor's misunderstanding about Goku and how his mother basically manipulated him. But what I truly enjoy the most is knowing the fact that Xicor is going to return, but the question is, when he does, how exactly are our heroes going to handle the situation? So again, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you guys have missed out manga chapter number 1 and manga chapter number 2 to this video, then be sure to go on ahead and check those videos out down in the description box below. Thank you all so much for watching, everybody. Once more, if you guys are new to this channel, don't forget to go on ahead and smash that subscribe button and turn on all notifications by clicking on the bell icon to never miss a single upload. If you guys enjoyed the video, smash that like button, click that like button down below, guys. Share your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Tune back in for Dragon Ball AF manga chapter number 4, and I'll be seeing each and every single one of you guys down in the comment section below. Have a great day, everybody. Peace.
This is the Galactic Emperor of the Universe, and of course I'm here to tell you to subscribe to UnrealEntGaming.
Also follow UnrealEntGaming on these social media platforms to stay connected at all times. And if you don't, then very soon you will all be dead! Oh, did someone say UnrealEntGaming? Oh my god.
The fuck's up? Put on some clothes!
Well, why don't you put on any clothes?
What? I don't need clothes. Jesus Christ, that's huge! What, Broly?
Frieza.
Uh-oh.
Prepare to die!